Hey gorgeous soul, let's talk about the difference between a desire and a want when it comes to manifestation. Well, a desire and a want, you can kind of feel it, right? Let's feel into a desire. A desire feels good. It feels exciting. It feels like thinking about what it would be like to have it. Wouldn't it be beautiful? Wouldn't it be magical? Wouldn't it just feel great? What about with a want? A want feels like I want that thing. I want that thing and I don't have it. That is why people recommend getting into the energy of desires rather than the energy of wants when you're manifesting, because manifestation is all about embodying the energy of already having the thing. If you're saying you want something, you're getting into that energy of not having it. You don't have it. And then how do you feel? Do you feel good about it? Probably not. You probably feel bad. You feel that lack energy. You might feel desperation or depression or sadness, or like you'd have to earn it or work for it. How could it possibly happen? It really disconnects you from the outcome. Doesn't at all get you into that energy of already having it. So try instead to reword and kind of even imagine the feelings of the things that you want to have. You can still use the word want. It's not like a taboo. It's not like if you say it, it's magically going to stop your manifestation from happening. It's just that if you get into the energy of desire, it's more embodying, it's more exciting about having it rather than putting it as something that's away from you. With a want, there is that level of separation and the things over there and you're over here. With a desire, it's almost like this energy of pulling it in. The other thing about desire is it means of the sire, of the Father, of God. A desire is placed in you because it was destined for you. And it is good to have desires. It's also good to have wants and good to have needs because we're human. But wants are quite interesting because when you want something, do you desire it? That's an important question. If a want is also a desire, desires can feel more pure and more natural and genuine even. Sometimes when we want something, it can come from the ego. It can be because, oh, they look like they're having fun with it, or, oh, that's shiny, or, oh, that looks like it might make me feel a certain way, or it might fill a gap in my life, or it might fill a need. Whereas a desire is a genuine belief that when you have it, it's going to feel good. Very interesting differences here. Now, I've only been speaking for 3 minutes, and have I already answered the question? I'm not sure. Let's see. What else can I say about desires and wants? We can shift into talking about gratitude as well, I think, because with desire and wanting to have something and embodying it and pulling it towards us, we can start embodying the energy by being grateful for it. You've probably heard about saying, thank you, universe, for such and such, or doing a gratitude rampage in the morning and saying, I'm so grateful for all these things that I have. I even like to shift those things into saying, I love this thing. I love my plant. I love my lights. I love this chair. I love everything that I have. I love my legs. I love what they can do for me, because it's naturally embodying the feeling of gratitude for having it rather than saying, I am grateful for this. Thank you for this. It kind of feels a bit more sluggish and unnatural somehow, doesn't it? Same thing with your desires. You can see something and say, oh, I love that. I would love to have that. Imagine that you go into a shop and you see a beautiful piece of jewelry or something, and it just speaks to you. It somehow makes your heart sing, and it's just this true desire that you would love to have it. When you say, I'd love to have that, you naturally start to embody and imagine the feelings of having the thing. Whereas if you just want something, that doesn't happen, which is quite interesting. I use that hack to manifest things all the time. It's just saying, I love this thing. I would love to have it. The other thing about wanting something is if you want something, sometimes that immediately, like wanting is kind of more in the mind and desires in the heart. I think that's where we can kind of create another distinction there. When we want something, it's in the mind, and it can lead us straight into the how are we going to get it thing. I want it, I don't have it. How am I going to get it? And obviously that takes out the aspect of manifestation, because if you are thinking about how you will get it, what actions you will take, how you can earn it, work towards it, save up for it, that's not manifestation. Whereas desire leaves it open. I would love to have that thing. Universe, can you please bring me that thing? And maybe it will come to you. There's been times in my life where I've just seen something and I've loved it, and then it turns out that someone I know has been getting rid of the thing, and then they've passed it on to me. Or there was once that I really would love to have woolen organic mattresses, and those aren't cheap. They're a bit pricey, and at the time I couldn't afford much at all, but I kept thinking, gee, I'd love to have them. I would just love to know that my kids were sleeping on these beds that were organic and didn't have any off-gassing or any of that stuff. Wouldn't that be lovely? And just completely in that energy. And then one day I looked on the internet on Gumtree, and there was someone selling 3 of them for like a crazy, crazy price. I saved thousands of dollars, and suddenly I could afford them as well, which is the most important thing, not necessarily how much I saved. And they'd been slept on once because they didn't like them. And then they delivered them to my door, and then I received them, and it was great. It was beautiful. Whereas sometimes when you want something and you're doing that process of how can I have it, or if you say to yourself, I want it, I don't have it, I have no way of getting it, immediately you've just closed off any possibility of having it, because you've set this intention, this unconscious intention, this expectation that it's not going to happen. And that's the signal you're sending out. That's what you are. You are manifesting not having it. The same as if you see you want it, I want that, but it's going to take time. You've just set an intention or an expectation for it to take time. It's fine to see something that you want and say that you want it. Just immediately switch into that, I want that, I'd love to have it, I wonder how it will come to me. It's interesting because I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been reading business books and entrepreneur books for at least 12 years. And there's something that stuck with me. It's to do with wealth management as well, not just business, but wealthy people or successful people don't say, I could never have that, or things like that. They say, how could I have that? How could I do that? And they start to come up with ways and ideas that they could have it, and they are open to the possibilities that it can happen. It doesn't necessarily just work for successful people. It works, I think it was maybe even in Rich Dad Poor Dad, I can't remember. But instead of saying, I want something that I can't have and there's no way of getting it, just say, how could I have that? And even if you can't think of anything consciously, because that's not necessarily the point, it's just being open to, there are some ways that could happen. Just being open. And you look at really successful people, celebrities, people who have gone really far in this world and had like amazing rags to riches stories. And I find it really interesting because if you look back, mindset plays a huge role. At some point they needed to believe that it was possible for them, regardless of where they were at. Regardless, like instead of looking at their circumstances and saying this isn't possible for me and accepting where they were, because that keeps you stuck, or it keeps you on this path of you can only go from this step to this step because that's what's logical, that's what's realistic. It allowed these people to just have amazing opportunities in their life, or take these twists and turns and always keep on track to the thing that they desired because they believed that somehow it was possible. What's that saying? He who progresses, I'm going to paraphrase this because it's in like 1800s speak, is as long as you're making progress towards your dreams, you'll get there eventually. I think it's by someone American that might be a poet. He who progresses in the direction of his dreams will meet success unknown in common hours. If you Google those words, you'll find out who it's by. So you've got to believe that it's possible. If you want something and you tell yourself you've got to earn it or you've got to get it, that's the intention that you're setting. You're saying, okay, universe, I want this thing, and I also want to get it by earning it. When you say, universe, I want this thing and it's going to take time, you're essentially saying you want it to take time. That's the intention that you're setting for the universe. If you want something and you just wanting it and feel like it's out there and you're over here and you don't have it, you're just manifesting more wanting and more not having it. Does this make sense? So that's why it's really important to try and desire things rather than want them. Or if you find yourself wanting something, if it's a genuine one, if it's a genuine desire, just don't add that extra layer of not having it, lack, desperation, time, having to earn it, any of that crap. You can just purely want. And that's why we kind of call it a desire, is because that word desire tends to mean just desiring it without all these extra connotations onto it, without all these extra energies that do come with the word want. So use whichever suits you. Just be aware of what can happen with that word want. Be aware of the subtle differences and maybe start saying things like, I would love to have that, and be open to the possibility that you can have whatever you want in this life. Don't tell yourself that you can't have it. Don't tell yourself it'll take time or effort or that. You can have whatever you want. You can have whatever you desire. Be open to the possibilities, because as humans, we only have these limited ideas of how things can happen, and especially from coming from a certain circumstances, people tend to think, okay, here is where I'm at, so here is where is possible for me. That's called creating by circumstance rather than creating from possibility. Creating from possibility is seeing all the things you desire in the world and saying, hey, wouldn't it be great if that's possible for me? I might have no idea how to do it right now, but that's the direction I want to head in. That's the lighthouse, that's the beacon that's going to guide my way. That's the difference between desires and wants. So my wish for you is that you manifest everything that you desire in this world. So go forth, revel in that feeling of desire and of loving something and of possibility, and allow for the possibilities, allow beautiful things to happen for you. All right, see you in the next episode.